Meeting of the Howard Community Preservation Committee. It's being held in the Don B. Griffin Room at Town Hall, 732 Main Street in Howard, on Thursday, November 16th, 2023. Welcome guests. Are there any public comment? Hearing none, moving on. Approval of the minutes. Can I have a motion for the CPC minutes for November 2nd, 2023?
I'll move to approve the minutes for CPC meeting for November 2nd, 2023.
Is there a second?
Second.
All those in discussion?
Marcy, was that you that said second?
I did say second,
I
yes.
just have a correction. Marcy, what page?
Page 5,
You need this?
No, I'm gonna do it from here.
page 5 under old business,
Yeah,
A, update of the CPC signs,
yep.
okay? It was Dave and I that installed all the signs.
Oh, not just you, I'm sorry,
Correct.
I didn't know that.
And
Yeah,
the sign that was in front of the Affordable Housing Trust property was not on Pleasant Street. It's Pleasant Ave, but actually you put it on Queen Anne Ave, so you might want to say that.
Queen Anne Road.
Queen Anne Road, I'm sorry, Queen Anne Road, yep.
Road. And 0,000. What else?
That's it.
Good, so there's a motion and a second with
To approve.
amended.
Amended.
Yes, I accept the amendment.
And I second it.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you, folks. Okay, new business. There are two presentations that have been withdrawn, and that's CH4 and CH5, just for general knowledge. Okay, the next 605, R2, Monomoy Regional District Press Box Project. Applicant, Michelle Canto, is that correct?
Yes.
All right, I'm gonna open this up with a couple of comments for the board, so the board knows this. I went through some of the information that the boosters have brought forward, and the project is under the Monomoy system, Monomoy School. Have you folks had any discussion with the business manager?
Yes. I'm the athletic director at the school, and yes, I discussed it.
Okay, what discussion did you have with him?
What exactly do you mean? Because we've discussed this whole project from start to finish.
I understand that,
Yeah.
but as went with the elementary school playground project,
Mhm.
Monomoy does not own the property.
Okay.
I had a discussion with the business manager. He was supposed to get in touch with the town administrator of the town of Howard and have that discussion.
Okay. I'm not sure. He has not.
Reached out
He and I
to,
have not had that discussion.
okay, this project can't go forward until that happens.
Okay.
And I also recommended that he talk to the CPC in the town of Chatham also.
Yes.
So, but
We
you,
have already.
you're
talked to
you're
the
aware of
CTC
it?
in Chatham. Yes. Yep.
Okay, so I'm not closing this down because the application's not complete. If you choose to, you can make your presentation now, but understand that unless there's an agreement between both those parties, between the town of Howard and the Monomoy school system, this can't go forward.
Okay. So, I guess the question is, we can make our presentation and have a discussion and all of that tonight. And
Yes.
answer your questions and all of that, and I just need to. Sorry.
Identify yourself, please.
Karen Gilmet, Athletic Director at Monomoy Regional High School. My question is, we can have this presentation and we can, answer your questions and go forward with that. And I can talk with my business manager and make sure that he and the town administrator come to an agreement that the town will allow this project to move forward. Is that correct?
And then what it comes down to is the project, ownership of the project manager, has to be the town of Harwich.
Okay,
So I don't know how that's gonna work out. That's for others to decide. We only make our decisions on what we have in front of us.
okay,
So if you wanna go ahead, I don't have any problem with allowing you to make the presentation. Just understand, if there's no meeting of the minds, this project won't go forward.
okay, yep,
Fair enough?
for sure, for sure. I just want to be clear to know that, like, what we need to do in order to push it forward, so,
Great.
yep, okay,
You've got the floor.
all right, great.
You want,
I did make the 5 copies, I don't know if you want.
and I'll grab them from you. Okay,
Yes,
is the
ma'am.
town manager's gonna be the town of Harwich? I mean, the project manager's gonna be the town of Harwich?
It will be the town of Harwich.
Who in the town of Harwich?
It'll be the town administrator, the same
Okay.
as the elementary school.
That's okay.
Okay, so we at the high school have been discussing, actually since I started as athletic director, which was 8 years ago, or this is my 8th year, that the need for a press box for multiple reasons. So about a year and a half ago or so, I brought it to the Booster Club, and so we kind of put a committee together to see how we could get this rolling. And so I do have a few committee members with me, Michelle Canto, who wrote up the application, Terry DeVoe, who is the Booster Club president, Scott Long, who is Booster Club secretary. That's who's with us tonight. And then Anthony Bowers, who's actually in Hawaii right now, so good for him. But he's the Booster Club vice president, and he's also part of this committee on this project. So the press box will be at the main stadium at the high school, which is a turf field. It's got the track around it as well. And it's used for all of our sports, of course, but also the graduation at the high school. Youth sports use our facilities, and that's both Harwich and Chatham, and then other outside organizations as well. The Special Olympics, we've hosted several different Special Olympic events out there. We host a variety of club sport opportunities, field day, or like our Shark Day for high school students. We host the middle school students, elementary school students for various things, tournaments, pep rallies, award ceremonies we've had out there. So there's a lot of events that we have out there that without a press box make them not as, they're just not run as well as they could be. And you wonder, why would a press box? But the biggest thing is the sound system that comes along with it, and the ability to film from up there, so you can video from the top of it. You have a much wider view, and then of course a sound system that everybody can hear you. Right now we have this portable sound system. When we host large events like the Special Olympics, you can't hear anything, and it makes it a little bit more chaotic and not as organized, where people don't know exactly where they're going for various things. So the timeline, like I said, we started about a year and a half ago, trying to sort of brainstorm and figure out how to get this thing started and get it done. This fall, we applied for CPC grants from both the town of Harwich and the town of Chatham, and we applied for $100,000 from each town. The hope is that by the spring, we'll have those approved by each town, which would be phenomenal. And then in the spring and summer of this next year, we could start the process to get the plans, official plans drawn up and put the project out to bid. And then in the fall, winter of '24, begin the building process. or at least get it scheduled and get it rolling, with hopeful completion by the spring of 2025, which I think is probably an aggressive timeline, just because of, the logistics of putting it out to bid and getting a company to do the work and whatnot. So the progress that we've made so far is that, like I said, we've applied for Harwich and Chatham grants, and the Booster Club itself has raised a little over $33,000 towards it. And we are also will be seeking more donations from local businesses in this spring, or through the winter and spring. So the next steps are to have our meetings with you folks. We also have a meeting scheduled with Chatham in December. We have our monthly meetings amongst ourselves, and we're brainstorming and fundraising, fundraising ideas, and we have lists together of businesses that we are planning to reach out to. I'm setting up those meetings and doing some face-to-face meetings. We also have commitments from Canto Paving and our Robert B. Hour for excavating and pouring the foundation and those kinds of things. So we have some actual labor commitments, so that's kind of where we're at and where we're headed, hopefully.
Okay. Is there anybody else in the audience that would like to speak to? She covered it.
Do you,
Go ahead.
I was gonna, did you want to get your PowerPoint going?
No, I just went through it, so it's good.
Are you I mean, I have it on my laptop. I mean, I can give it to our lad and he can.
I basically just went through the whole thing, so it's all good.
Duplicate.
Yeah.
Okay, what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open it up to the board. We're gonna start with Marcy.
I have no other questions. Thank you.
Thank you.
Emily.
I had a question on your, going through your quote, there are a lot of exclusions, and I think you spoke to some of them on the, the concrete and a couple others. Do you have a sense of what the additional costs will be for, the permitting and the landscaping and everything? I know you mentioned you've raised some donations so far, but do you think you'll have enough to cover those up above and beyond the 210 quote?
Yes, I do. I don't know. I don't have a quote on the permitting. I don't. Terry might be able to speak to that a little bit better, as he's a local contractor.
So, my name is Terry DeVoe, and president of Monomoy All Sports Booster. As far as the permitting, we've solicited from 3 or 4 different companies that do this. They're located in Texas, Kentucky, and some include the permitting, others do not. So as far as the permitting process, it could go either way. As Karen said, we're in the beginning stages, so it really comes down to our next steps as far as, putting out to bid and having further discussions with these companies. And one company, if I could just comment, one of the companies that we are involved with, Dan Clayton, actually built the bleachers, and they are set up to attach to their existing bleachers. They have all the plans and could mount to what they put up before without much trouble. So that was one of the companies we're really interested in talking to.
All right, thank you.
One other question, kind of related. What about technology costs? Like if you're getting the sound system and the video equipment, that kind of thing?
Yep, that's a great question. We have, actually, we have funding for that secured already. So that's not included in that cost. Basically, what we're looking for is to cover the cost of getting the structure built and put up.
Great, thank you.
You're welcome.
I'm gonna interject for a moment. If I'm remembering correctly, how the CPC handled the elementary school playground. If it's the town of Howard, it's the applicant, which it should be. Hopefully it goes in that direction. All the procurement will be done through the town of Howard, not through Monomoy. That was one of the key problems before. There was a hiccup there. So what I'm trying to do is let you folks know ahead of time what the things you need to address. And if I think of anything as we go through this exercise, I'll try to bring it to the forefront. Kelly?
I would envision us working very closely with the town administrator through the process.
I hope so. Kelly?
Thank you very much for your presentation. My questions were similar to Emily's, and you addressed them for the most part. My only concern was that the quote for the project cost didn't appear to allow for contingency, so I was just, cost always increases, so just checking in that you're prepared for that or involve some sort of contingency.
I think so. Do you guys have any input?
No comments, but I feel we are. I mean, there is, under the specs that they provided to us, going through the construction specs, everything pretty much is covered, including the footings in some areas, but we've already had the, couple of companies step forward to help us out in that area.
Okay, thank you. That is all.
John?
Yeah, okay, so, first question, you answered a previous question and said that the technology costs have already been covered, i.e. the sound system. To what extent is deployment of the sound system, which you're already contemplating, dependent on erecting the structure?
If I'm understanding the question correctly, we need the structure in order to have the sound system and video and internet capabilities that we would like to have out there.
So you couldn't deploy a sound system without building this structure?
So we have a
Without building the structure?
we have a portable sound system now that is not, it's too big of a space. It really needs a system that is more designed for that type of area.
So I understand this portable sound system is inadequate. I understood your previous answer to be that you already have funding for buying a new sound system that will be adequate for your needs. My question is, do you need to build this structure in order to deploy that new sound system?
Yes, we do. It cannot be out open in the elements, and that's what it would be. And nor could it's too large. It's not a portable system. It's a mounted structure. So, and you cannot have that type of high-quality electronical equipment out in the open elements, nor can you bring it in and out, nor is there any place to put it.
Okay, it needs to go into an environment protected.
Correct.
So my next question is just, Kelly asked about contingencies. My question is, what's your fallback here? I mean, you're depending on getting $100,000 from both Harwich and Chatham in order to implement this. What if one or the other, or potentially both, don't fund you the way you're requesting to be funded?
We will continue applying for the other grants, and we will continue to hit the ground with our fundraising efforts.
Okay, so my other question is more for Dave, which is, you're saying that this needs to be run by the town of Harwich, but if there are two towns involved, how is that gonna work?
That's the two towns, is the Monomoy school system.
But won't,
What the single town owns the property.
it's because Harwich owns the, I see, okay.
Correct.
All right. I don't have anything else, thank you.
Thank you.
All set, John?
Yep, thank you.
Robert?
Just to clarify, and maybe this is more to you, Dave, does the Monomoy school system own that property? Or is it the Harwich?
It's
own
the
it?
town of How, it's a lease. The Monomoy school system is a lease.
Okay. Okay. So,
And that's for the attorneys
yeah,
to, but generally speaking, the way it happened the previous time, when I got into the
Right.
minutia,
okay.
we have it.
So the question is why isn't Monomoy school system providing this for you? Why do you have to raise separate money?
Because, with the budget as it is and other things within the school budget, I think take priority over a project like this. And so, in talking to the Booster Club, we committed to trying to move it forward without having to ask the towns through the school budget process.
Okay. And you did mention that the Monomoy School has committed to maintaining it?
Correct.
Okay. I think that's it for now.
All right, thank you, Robert. Kathy?
Yeah, so this is like an 18 by 8 structure.
Correct.
How high off the ground is it?
It will be up behind the bleachers, so I'm not, how high is that?
12.6, okay. I noticed an email in your presentation that was from a Matt Doherty, and it says, note that you will need to add concrete and the lift. What is the lift?
That is to make it ADA compliant and accessible, wheelchair accessible.
Ramp lift.
Who's going to administer the sort of scheduling of the use of the press box?
So that would fall under me most likely, as I do with the fields. Once it's built, it will be scheduled the same as all of our properties are scheduled through our, we use School Dude scheduling website. And that's how we schedule all of our events at school. So it will be scheduled the same way it goes through an approval process. I'm one of them, the principal is one of them, central office staff as well. So it goes through an approval process through our scheduling.
Okay, so I guess I'm just confused at who's going to own this? Who has ownership of this
The town of Howard.
structure? The town of
It would,
Harwich?
it would,
The town of Howard.
it would
They lease,
It would fall into, in my understanding, it should fall into the lease of the school as part of the lease of the school, just like the building does and Harwich Elementary, I'm assuming similar, right? So it would all fall within the school district's lease. So the school district manages the building, they manage all the facilities, but it apparently is
exactly.
correct.
Exactly.
Okay, and so any insurance would come, additional insurance would come through the overall umbrella
Of the school district. Yep.
system? Okay, all right, that's it.
The only other suggestion I would make is, when you're looking at the amounts of money that you're going to spend, I represent the rec department on the CPC, Howard's Town. And we had a 20% contingency onto every one of our units that we bring forward to this board to decide. So, just a suggestion.
Thank you, that's a very good suggestion.
At least you have some working knowledge on it.
Yep.
Is there any other comments from any of the board members? John?
I just have one other question. Looking at your responses to the online forum, there is a question in there about what commissions, boards, committees, organizations that you have asked for comments and review, and your response isn't really responsive to the question. You don't mention any town departments or committees or anybody that you just mentioned that the Booster Club is in charge of fundraising for the thing. I would have thought you would have gone to the rec commission or youth and maybe other departments in this town and other towns, and I think in order for us to complete our review and determine, what we're gonna do about recommending this, we need to know what relevant departments in town think of your proposal, which there is no material here doing that. So I would encourage you to submit such material, to talk to relevant departments, starting with the rec department, I would think.
Give Eric a call.
Yeah, I certainly can do that. I talk to Eric frequently, so not a problem.
And I can't think off the top of my head what other departments you might talk to, maybe other people on the committee have some other ideas.
Thank you.
Any other board members? Robert?
Is this a stretch for the recreation? Because as far as qualifying for CPA money, since that it's not directly being used by athletes, it's only an accessory unit to it?
That's a good one.
Don't want to rain on anybody's parade.
No, I understand. Well, look at White House Field.
Mhm.
The high school uses White House Field.
True.
We maintain it. This, town of Howard maintains it through the rec department, through what am I trying to say? The town DBW, that's what I'm looking for. So, I don't know the answer to the question.
Now, we did buy the lights, right?
We bought the lights.
So that's kind of maybe the same type thing.
Lights, scoreboard,
Yeah. Yeah,
Fencing,
Fencing.
fencing.
yeah, so maybe it's,
irrigation.
Have we done that yet?
I would say it's similar to White House Field.
yeah, okay.
Okay, anybody else on the board? All right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you very much for your time.
Thank you.
And we will definitely get you all the other information that you need and go forward with what we discussed. So we appreciate that.
Whomever you need to talk to.
We will do it. Thank you.
All right.
Appreciate it.
Have a good night. Thank you. Okay. Next one will be the rental assistance program, CH2, for $250,000. I could not find that document for the life of me. And I've gone through every one of these bloody things.
You are challenged.
I certainly am. So I'm gonna follow on your recommendations. Would you introduce yourself, please?
Yes, I'm going to hand this out, but Brianna Powell, housing advocate. for the
There we
town.
go. Welcome, Brianna.
Thank you. Printing is very small, so it's kind of hard to read. Yep. Thank you.
Thank you.
Does anybody have a magnifying glass?
I know, I'm
Sorry.
And really, the only lines you need to see are the CPA lines, so of course, it's not even like you need the whole thing. But, so as I said, I'm Brianna Powell. I'm the housing advocate for the town. And this is my first time doing something like this, so it's a learning process for me, but I'm excited to go through it. So I've applied and am requesting $250,000 for a rental assistance program. That would be much like the program that's currently run through the Wellfleet Housing Authority. The program would allow families and individuals to maintain affordable year-round rental housing by ensuring their monthly rent does not exceed 30% of the household's monthly income. The goals of this program are to assist in financially stabilizing individuals and families, provide education to the program participants in the budget process, and assist in self-sufficiency. The assistance to the household would be for 12 months if needed. If a household felt like they needed longer, they could request another 12 months, but the maximum period of assistance would be 24 months. $50,000 of the requested funds would be used for the management of the program through a management company or local agency, which there are 2 local ones here that work with other towns to do this. They're Housing Assistance Corporation and Homeless Prevention Council. With rising amounts of households falling into the rent burden category, the rental assistance program would add subsidized rental assistance, creating stabilization of rent costs for some families and individuals. 33% of households in Harwich are currently considered to be rent burden, meaning they spend more than 30% of their income on rent. The reason it's 30% is because people also need to spend money on things like groceries and gas, and all of those costs are quickly increasing. And I put that information in here. You have the housing profile from the Cape Cod Commission showing that it's 33%. There's currently a rental assistance program in Harwich that's supported by the Housing Authority. This program offers $350 a month for 3 years. Though anything helps, I don't think that's enough assistance in our current market to really make a difference for a lot of folks. Currently, the market rate rental for a 2-bedroom in Barnstable County is $2,082, and a 3-bedroom is $2,541. Oftentimes, rent is a lot higher than this. I know my 3-bedroom, I pay more than that for rent. So those are the market rate, but usually it's higher. And the chart I handed out has the income limits that I would suggest to be used, and I'd like to go up to 100% AMI because I don't have the same restrictions that the trust has or the Housing Authority has with 80%. So I think we could help some families and individuals that may not get the assistance otherwise. For example, like I'll use myself. I'm a department head here, and my husband is a social worker for DCF. And as a family of 5, which we will soon be,
Congratulations.
thank you. We would fall just at this moment, just around that 100% AMI. So it could help, I think, a wider range of folks. So that's basically it. I'm happy to answer any questions you may have.
Okay, I'm going to open up the board. We're going to start with Kathy.
I'll start with me. Okay. Well, with regards to the rental assistance program that's run by the Housing Authority, had you thought about combining forces with them somehow?
It is something that Elizabeth mentioned. They would have to do a whole new, I think they have to wait for something to expire to renew it. I'd have to get back to you on,
Have you spoken to them about how the program has been received in the last few years? Because we've had many discussions with them because they've come before us.
Okay, yeah.
And they could not give the money away. I mean, they have had, I think, a maximum of 8 households for the last couple years.
Okay.
That's not a very encouraging sign.
Yeah. I wonder if one of their main issues is that people didn't know about. I know a lot of people don't know about it.
That wasn't one of the things that they mentioned. I
Okay.
mean, part of it was during COVID, there was a lot of additional subsidies around. That was the first thing.
Yeah.
But it's been a while now.
Yeah.
And the numbers have not increased in terms of the households. But one concern was that they, and this may be a concern moving forward, is that there is a maximum rental, sort of, that you can have that somehow that, like, say somebody came to you and said, well, my rent is $4,000 a month. You know, that is beyond, I think, some of the income levels that they could, or rental levels that they could provide assistance to.
You're talking about threshold?
Yeah, so have you thought about that?
I'm wondering if so the Wellfleet one is restricted to, they can't help people with rent for 110% market rate, so a little bit over. I'm wondering if that may be what you're talking about.
Go ahead,
Yeah,
Bob.
Bob may be able to help us with that.
Yeah, their specific thing was is that they only give allotments of $300 a month, And anybody that walked in the door, even at 300, they could not find anything. So they're limited by the 300, and they did say that they have to wait to the end of the contract and rewrite the contract to allow more money, to increase that so that they would be more effective. You don't have that restriction on your program because you're at 30%, anything over to make up the rent, up to the 100%.
Yep.
You can do it, so you're flexible on the amount of money that you
Yeah.
can give each individual.
Yep, and that's why, yeah, like $350 right now in this market isn't going to
Right.
make a big difference for someone.
Kathy,
Yeah,
go ahead.
so the management fee of $50,000 represents 20% of this budget. I think that's really high. Given the fact that some of these organizations have been doing it for quite a while, it's sort of like a boilerplate kind of thing. In addition, your application mentioned that there was going to be education in financial planning, et cetera, and some other things. And those, some of that coursework or those offerings, whether they be Zoom or in person or webinars or whatever, a lot of those are being offered through CBP and HCT and the Homeless Prevention Council already. So I feel like we're gonna be duplicating efforts.
Yeah, I think that's just part of what they can do with this program. I mean, I would be like Homeless Prevention Council or HAC, who offer those for free anyways. 50,000 is the number Joe and I had discussed, so I could alter that amount once I talk to a management agency. If it's much less, then am I able to change my request amount if it's less? 50,000 was just the number Joe and I had discussed.
I'm saying as a taxpayer,
Yeah.
I think, or as, even as somebody that, donates to, HAC or Homeless Prevention Council, to see 20% of my donation go to management is disturbing.
Yeah, I understand that. I would be happy to reach out and get a more accurate figure on that and give that to you all. Because it may be much lower than that. That's just what Joe and I had discussed when I was discussing the application with them.
I'm all set.
Robin?
Yeah, on that management fee, you've actually asked for $250, even though you mentioned $550 for the thing. If it turns out less, I think you could put that extra money up to $250 into actual payments, I would assume. At least that's the way I kind of read it. The other thing is, I would encourage you maybe to try to talk with the Housing Authority where they have their program now. I don't know if the same people could also manage this, but I think it would be way cheaper than going back to HAC or one of the other ones.
That's a good point.
Yeah. That's all I have.
Thank you, Robert. John?
So how many families or households do you expect to be able to help if you got the $250,000, and for how long? Is this for a single year? And do you contemplate coming back here a year from now and asking for a similar amount of money? Is this something you contemplate being an annual request?
I hope that the program works out in a way that it would help enough families that it would be an annual request. When I did the math, I think I put in there that it would help. I calculated like all of the households in Harwich, which it's only the ones that are rentals. So it would be about 499 households that fall into rent burden. And we currently have around 360 shy list rentals, which are affordable. So I think that there's still a decent amount of families that could use the help. I mean, since the Housing Authority has had issues getting people to apply and actually spending the funds, that would be something we would need to look into and figure out where the gap is there.
So, but the number is nothing like 100 families here. You can't,
It could be.
but $250,000
Well, yeah, not
is
with
not going to help
funding.
100 families.
Well, it would be a new program, so I guess we would evaluate and see how it does the first year and then determine if there was a need to request more or if that 250 did what it needed to do.
Okay, I just have a simple sort of technical question, just looking at this chart.
Yeah.
The CPA column says 100% income limit, and so does the adjacent column say 100%, and they're different numbers. What's the difference?
Yeah, that's a very interesting question. I would have to look into that because I don't understand why they're different numbers, but I know that we would be going by CPA for this. But it is something I've noticed as well.
Okay, thank you.
All right, thank you, John. Emmy?
Thank you so much. Question on the Wellfleet program. How long has it been running, and do you have any feedback data on how many families they have helped, how it's working? And I'm curious on the 2-year limit. Is that because it has to be 2 years? I'm just like, does enough change in 2 years that people are okay, and do they have to move out of the house that they're in? That kind of.
Yeah, that's a good question. I'm not sure why they selected 2 years. I don't think I would be restricted to 2 years. I know that it's been spoken highly about their program and that it is helping folks. I do not know the amount of families they have helped, but I can absolutely look into that and get that information for you. Yeah, yeah.
I'm sorry, Marcy, go ahead.
Hi. I admired the program and what you're looking to do with the families and the money that you're looking to assist with their rent. But my question is, in looking outside of the box, as far as what else you can help the families, as far as maintaining their household and their income, because sometimes when you're just giving money to families, they're just using the money and they're not getting any further ahead. It's just money that's just kind of going to the rent. And then when that money is expended, they're back in the same position that they were.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm just asking, like, have you thought of any ideas of what would help these families to be able to sustain their rent after this program has ended?
Yeah, I think that's where the education piece comes in, and there are going to be. So I worked at HAC as a housing counselor, and there definitely are families that does happen, but I feel like there's also a lot of families that you see growth in just because they want to grow and they want to learn and do better for themselves if they can, if they're not too limited. I think it's an important thing to point out, and I understand your concern, but I would hope that people would be open to the education portion of this.
Marcy, can I stop you for a moment? I'm trying to wrap my head around what you said earlier. Would you please repeat that as far as how families perceive getting assistance and not proceeding forward?
What I was saying is, with these type of programs, with the money that they would receive if they qualified, getting the money for their rents, that what would happen if those funding has ended?
Stopped.
Right,
Mm-hmm.
right,
How would they handle, in other words, how
right,
would they handle that particular situation?
right. If the money has been expended and they're back in the same situation, how can they sustain their rent?
Okay, well, go ahead, you've got the floor.
Okay, the other thing too, I know you're talking about education, and also, a lot of it, I mean, I'm not a psychologist, but working in housing, there's a lot with mental health.
Mm-hmm.
And so sometimes it just, is there like a social worker that may come into this play? Or, I mean, I know it's kind of early to say, but just something to
that's
think about.
Something we could consider and maybe see if the management companies had any suggestions for that. But that's, definitely also a great point. Yeah.
And then,
I hadn't thought of that portion yet.
okay, and then you're also like looking into grants
Mm-hmm.
as well that may help with, depending on the grant, like with the administration costs, that could help out. So.
Yeah, that's another good thing. Like I said, very new to all of this. My
understand.
first time going through all this. So all your points are wonderful and good advice to take forward.
Okay, thank you. No
Yeah,
other
thank you.
questions?
How's that?
Thanks.
Kel?
Thank you very much for your presentation and for the application. I just want to reiterate some of the concerns, just so you hear it from another person. So I was also drawn back by the the 20% of the request being for management, and also worried about duplicating efforts that the housing authority may be doing too. And it sounds like there's a lot more research or understanding that needs to be done to strengthen this application, including talking more with the housing authority of how this can help to potentially supplement their program and meet some needs like the 80 to 100% gap, like you talked about, or some other ways to support the members of our community. I also had a question because you were talking about like education. Does some of this requests go into funding an educational program, or is that more with the, so I'm not understanding where the educational part's coming in then.
Well, I think the management companies, they have a lot of free courses that they offer that we would probably encourage folks using this program, or maybe it could be a requirement that they do take those classes.
Okay, got it, thank you.
But that, yeah, it wouldn't be an additional part of the
Okay.
funding.
Yeah, I think that my main comment is around, it sounds like there's more conversations that need to be had to better strengthen this request, and so then it works with the already established program in a way, so instead of duplicating things.
Yeah.
Great.
Okay,
Okay,
thanks.
thank
Yeah.
you.
I think the it's hard because 300 a month isn't really, 350 a month isn't really going to help many people. Like if their rent is like 4,000 and it's 300 a month, then it's really not gonna make a difference. But if we're able to give more than 300 a month and really bring their rent down to 30%, then I don't know if I see it as duplicating efforts. I think it's a larger assistance.
Right, I think I'm seeing it like, since the housing authority already has a presence and a program, if there's a way to better work with them, instead of presenting a whole new program, that's
Okay.
what I'm
Okay,
seeing
yeah,
from it. Thanks.
thank you.
Jeff?
I know that you said you've been before the Affordable Housing Trust, and they supported this. Have you thought about seeking funding from them? And
I think that would take away from the being able to help a wider range of income levels because they would cap it at 80%.
that's the money that they get from CPA funds, but they get money from cell tower. And in addition, there is the short-term rental tax money, which is somewhere and will be coming forthwith in the next couple years. So,
But as far as I know from talking with them and working with them, they wouldn't want to do anything that is over 80%. They're very, that's the number that they're sticking with.
one more question.
Go ahead.
So in terms of working this program with, like, have you brought it before the housing committee? I know you said you've talked to somebody in the housing authority. I mean,
Yeah, and I talked to Elizabeth Harder. I talked to Tracy Cannon a bit. But the housing committee hasn't met much recently, so I haven't really had the chance to speak with them at a meeting.
I'm just thinking that, you know, since we have all these housing different entities, that we kind of all need to coordinate, you know, so. And is there a maximum amount that you would fund a family?
That's probably something that we would look into as we fine-tuned the application more. I know we have a maximum time right now, but there hasn't been any conversation about maximum limit that a family could get.
So I just want to reiterate what Kelly said, which is that there seems to be a lot more information that needs to be fleshed out for this particular program.
Sure.
Kelly?
I just wanted to make a comment that I believe we discussed it in this room before, but Bob and I were also just happened to attend a meeting several months ago about housing, and I'm seeing it before me right now in the community preservation page, just to confirm it, that any CPA funds dished out can support 100% AMI, not 80. So, and the housing trusts at that time had said that, like, they seemed to just realize that whatever CPA funds could support that 100%. So it's interesting to me that they're still pushing that 80
Yeah.
when they have the ability from us.
They may not be aware.
They,
Even though at this meeting they said it.
Bob?
I believe, though, just the way their charter is
In the
written,
charter, that's
Yes.
what it is.
it
Okay.
is, they're limited to 80,
Okay,
even
got
though,
it.
yeah.
Yep.
Okay, thank you.
And they have to change that charter at some point.
Understood. Okay, thank you.
Thank you, Kelly. John?
So speaking of the Affordable Housing Trust, I'm a little confused about what is said under project description here, because there's a sentence here that says the Affordable Housing Trust, through this program, intends to provide rental assistance. So it doesn't say this, I mean, who is running this program? Who's responsible for it? And why are you saying the Affordable Housing Trust is using this program to provide rental assistance?
they were initially going to apply for this, and then after speaking with the town administrator, we decided that I would apply for it. So that may have been done prior to that conversation.
Okay. I think we could
Like I
probably
said,
use
it's
something in writing saying, I mean, I'm just looking at, basically, the applicant organization here says Housing Advocacy Department.
Mhm.
So that's who would be running this program, I take it.
Correct.
All right, thank you.
That's correct.
Anybody else have any questions?
Yeah.
Rob?
Just your timetable, because you have a model you're probably gonna follow Wellfleet, correct? But you need to customize that. Are you in the process of doing that?
Yes,
And kind of answering these questions that we have, so. we'll-
absolutely. I will be out in about 6 weeks for about 3 months, so it'll be
Wanna
done
get that
before that.
done, then.
Yes,
Okay,
absolutely. Yeah.
Okay, thank you.
Anything else from any of the board members? Thank you very much for your presentation,
Thanks for your time.
Thank you.
and good luck in the future.
Thanks. It's already a lot. I don't know how I'm gonna handle more, but we make it work. Thank you.
Okay, old business. Updates on the signs. Captain,
Updates on the signs.
do we want more?
I don't know, we were gonna get some feedback. Anybody have any feedback? I think we need to figure out a better staking system. I think we need to tweak a couple of them. I drove around town the other day and was looking at some stuff, so.
The one at Brooks Academy looks terrific.
Good, good.
Still standing.
Yeah.
Go by it
For the
every day.
moment.
The one
Yeah.
by the Marceline property, I think needs to be tightened up a little bit.
Okay.
The lawn signs, actually work better than I thought
Mm.
in terms of the visibility. I think once you go past one, you grasp what's on there, and then you know what it is. So I think, they're better than I thought they were gonna be. I still have not gotten a sign in front of, the South Harwich Meeting House because I could not get a hold of Judy Ford. I used an email that I had from our previous applications, and I didn't get a response from her. So, if you want me to put it someplace else, I have one sign left. You suggested the Elmer Kroll barn, which I think is great, but I think the barn is closed down now or will be closed down shortly for the season, so no one will really be seeing it. So, if we wanna put it, I thought we should ask, Robin what her thoughts were for a sign near, like, a cemetery project. I don't know if she would think it was a bad idea or not,
Members of the board, thoughts?
Well, speaking of cemetery projects, I'm just thinking of someplace that people would drive by frequently. And on 39 there, I never remember the names of the different cemeteries, but the main cemetery there on between 39 and 137, where
Where we
uh,
replace the-
Veterans Day.
Right.
Yeah.
That's evergreen.
Evergreen,
That's
yes.
evergreen, yeah.
I mean, there's a stone fence at the entrance
Yep.
on 39. I don't know whether that would be,
Yeah, I'm just wondering if that's tacky or not. I mean,
yeah, well, some people might think of it that way.
I know. I know.
Um, And the same question you might ask about the, whatever it is, the East Harwich, the one over there on Church Street.
Yeah, that's
the
the Union,
Methodist,
the
yeah.
East Harwich Union Cemetery, I think it is called, or
Right,
something
and
like
there's
that.
probably a fine place there on
Yeah,
the fence,
again,
but you
it's,
might
I'm
ask
just
that
wondering if
question.
signage is sort of tacky at a cemetery. That's my only thought. I mean, I don't,
I think just ask Robin.
yeah.
She'll have a good sense.
And if you ask Robin, she probably has Judy Ford's phone.
Yeah, definitely.
Well, don't they have like, doesn't the South Harwich Meeting House have like a website and phone number and all of that, right?
Okay, I'm tired,
Me too.
and I'm
I-
tired of
Why don't
doing
I
things
look,
for
do
everybody.
you want me to see if I can find it and text it to you?
I've only got one sign right now, so, you know.
Well, let's
First come, first
start
served.
with this. Let's order some more signs.
Okay, so what do you want, banners or signs?
You wanna go through the same situation? Get a number of banners, get a number of stake signs?
Well, I really think you should think about where you're gonna put them, because we don't wanna end up with these things and not have any place to put them. Like, I don't think Brooks Academy, and I don't think that Brooks Free Library wants us putting up a banner or a sign,
I understand that.
okay?
And they got a sign already on the
Yeah.
corner.
And, cemeteries might be out, I don't know. We've done a lot of cemetery projects, but, you know, who knows? Certainly any of the,
In front of the South Harwich Meeting House
yeah,
would be appropriate with
yeah,
a banner.
as would the Elm Crow Barn, when it reopens.
That would be a sign.
Yeah, when it opens.
So how about,
They're actually in there working now because
They
I
do
stopped
work.
by.
Yeah.
They've got a group of
Students.
individuals that are, yeah, so they may be open year round. In fact, they may be coming with a request next year.
it's not the right season right now, but many, many, many people go to Red River Beach, and we paid for all those lifeguard stands if there was a sign that could get tacked up on the back of the lifeguard stands when they go out there.
That's an idea.
You could do that now, because people,
I don't think,
They're gonna be taking the lifeguard
I don't
stands
think the
down.
lifeguard stands, I was just,
No, they stay up.
No,
Do
they're
they?
not supposed to stay up. The original
They-
proposal said that they were gonna be stored.
Kathy?
I'm just telling you what they said.
I was there today. I wasn't thinking about whether lifeguard stands were there or not. I don't remember seeing them there at all, but I'll go check again and let you know. People do use the beach all winter long too,
Yeah,
so.
yeah, no, absolutely.
do we have some at White House Field yet?
We don't have anything at the fields, and I don't know, do they want anything at the fields? That's not, like a sponsorship sort of, thing.
Yeah, but
Wait,
wait a minute.
yeah.
He wants
No,
our
I'm
money.
I'm just saying, I don't want us to put a sign someplace.
I mean, maybe it's not the right
And then have
time of
somebody just
year.
like, rip up the sign saying that this is, not a place for this kind of a sign. So,
At White House
just
Field?
trying to think.
We could put a banner. Yeah, we could put a banner on the fence at White House.
Yeah, it's just
The
maybe
main
not,
fence.
it's not the right time of year maybe, because there's probably not a lot of activity, but Brooks Park, a lot of people go by there all the
Right.
time. Perfect place.
And all those bocce courts were CPC
That's right.
money.
Oh, the bocce
So-
courts?
Yeah.
were? Oh, I didn't
So,
know that.
we could put a banner,
You put that right out on the road there, right in front of
a
us.
sign, or, a sign would be appropriate, not a banner. There,
Can you get it painted onto the bocce courts?
I was
Might as
thinking
well
about
paint
the new
something on the back of the
pickleball courts.
lifeguard stands too then, like a permanent thing.
But again, there's that big board at Brooks Park at the entry to where the gazebo is. And there's very little posted on that board now. There could be something on that board. Rob,
May I suggest that on our future applications, that's one of the requirements, is asking how will they advertise they got money from CPC?
It is in our guidelines.
it's in our
Oh, is it?
guidelines.
Yes,
yeah.
it is.
But we don't ask.
We don't
At the-
push it.
Right. Maybe we should.
Well, that could be housing, that could be conservation,
Yeah, absolutely.
open space.
But everybody should be willing to come up with an idea or, saying how
Because
they would do it.
recreation does, every project that they do, they put up a sign for it.
Right.
Thoughts?
That's for later.
Okay, do we have a general?
Well, so what my takeaway right now is that I'm gonna plop a sign in front of the Elm Patrol barn right now, the last one that's in my car, and that we're gonna order some additional signs. So what would you like me to order? Like,
Same order as before?
Yeah, duplicate the order.
okay,
So a banner at White House field fence, banner at Brooks Park, sign at the bocce courts. You're gonna have South Harwich Meeting House,
That I'd like to see a banner in
and
front
the
of that building.
lifeguards if
That was
they
over $1
stay
million.
there. Yeah.
I don't think the lifeguard stands, if we put a sign, I
They're
think
not
they'll remove
yeah,
the sign.
They'll blow
Yeah.
up.
Oh, yeah,
so
but,
Right.
next year.
I like the idea, I'm just not sure of the,
well, they'll either blow up or somebody at 11:30 on a Saturday night will
unless we
decide
could
to
put a
collect it.
banner on the back of one of them that faces the parking lot.
Well,
Yeah, right,
You
yeah.
know, like a 4-foot banner.
I don't think that'll necessarily work with the wind conditions down
The
there.
wind, yeah.
It cranks up the, Rob,
My only question is timing. Should we be doing this all now, or should we wait closer to town meeting?
it's, again, if you're marketing yourself, we have a marketing expert here. You go, full force for what you got.
Okay.
Start now.
You get the,
Yeah, no,
sorry.
I would just keep building awareness and,
Yeah.
reach in frequency. On the lifeguard ones, I think could you do something small, like a
Yeah.
plaque? It makes it, I don't know, draws people in.
Something that's permanent, you mean? like
Yeah, just a
permanent,
small something.
a little, like,
Mhm.
Have
half
a-
the size of the, whatever.
Well, have a plywood square that can be fastened with,
Yeah.
permanently to the back of the stand
Exactly.
and permanently fasten some kind of
You know what, why don't I
weatherproof
take a
thing.
look at the lifeguard stands, because we have plenty of time, and I'm just gonna measure for you all, like if there's a spot that something can be attacked to that won't get abused by the wind. How about that?
Do you want me to
is
do
there a
that?
little sarcasm there?
Do you live by Red River Beach?
Yeah, I live close enough. I can go measure. I'll send my husband.
There you go. He takes orders well. All I gotta do.
So should we, in preparation for the spring, do you think we should like triple the order, like do a double order so that we have them
On hand.
on hand? Because we know that if this proposal goes through to reduce the CPA funding, we're gonna want a barrage of,
Right.
publicity saying otherwise. And I'm sure, I talked to Mike Locke at Harwich Conservation Trust, and he said, sure, put them wherever you feel it's appropriate. Of course, not all of the places that we've helped with
Support.
CPA funds,
Right.
get a lot of traffic, or even are, like, the latest Decopolis property is not even, up and running yet, but, with any kind of trail network, but, there's plenty of places, I guess.
Even drive-bys, though, it's still beneficial. Like, even if it's not getting a lot of trail action, the drive-by, I think, is
Yeah.
effective.
If it's a drive-by, but that's when it's at the end of a road,
Right.
so that would.
I'm just saying,
Yeah.
like,
I
for
mean, that's
example.
why the one at The Cornelius Ponds one on
Exactly.
Queen Anne Road is a
Yeah.
great one.
Exactly.
Same Pond one's a good one.
Has anybody seen the signs at Hinckley's Pond?
No,
Okay, so I put 2 signs there because it was awkward. You couldn't do it on both sides of the street. So I put one closer to the bike path and one closer to the road.
So there's another site at Hinckley's Pond, which is the site just across the bike path from Jenkins Pond, where there's a guy before the select board this week asking why he can't drive in there anymore.
right, because they changed it.
But what I'm getting at is people use that area a lot, and people have been launching kayaks, but they go walk down there and fish
Oh.
down there and things. And I don't, we helped fund the
We
Jenkins.
did not fund the Jenkins. We
Okay.
funded the Hinckley
That's right.
Pond
And
alum
alum-
treatment.
Well, the
Alum
alum treatment,
Yeah.
but that's, it's, the alum treatment thing is like, it's hard to like pin a location exactly, but if there's a public access place that is frequented by a lot of people, that might be something to think about
I
as
agree,
well.
but as we all know, there's not a lot of public access on Hinckley's Pond.
Well, people walk down there, and that is town-owned property.
Right, it's town-owned. It's not, it wasn't,
No, but you're still, I don't know, what I'm thinking is, you're still referencing the money that was spent on the
Right.
Hinckley's alum treatment.
Right,
And if there's a way to sort of put that information in this water is clear and beautiful because
Right.
of CPA funds.
how about Jude Eldridge?
why
We
not?
put one
Where?
right on the property,
Oh.
right on Hawks Nest Road there. I don't know.
I can't see why not.
Yeah, sure.
That was a significant amount of money.
And we should definitely get something down by Bell's Neck like we talked before, at some point.
I think a banner works there.
Yeah,
So there's
something
that
that you
nice
can
fence
secure a little bit
At
better.
Bell's Neck?
by the
By the Herring Run.
The herring run.
yeah.
I don't know exactly
Okay,
where that
alright.
is,
I do. I walk it frequently.
so we'll have to figure that out.
You're talking about the area where the fish counter is?
Yeah.
Okay,
And
that
there's
makes sense.
There's
There's a lot of people.
split rail fence there now that you could put a banner on.
And does
I
this,
haven't mentioned that to Amy, but probably should just, she should be informed, but
who,
Amy?
Amy?
Yeah.
Okay.
And you've got one at the playground?
I don't think one would survive at the playground.
There is a acknowledgement at the playground to CPC funding. It's already there.
Yeah.
It's right on the chain link fence.
It's tough at the playground, you know, there way, many more kids than they have playground equipment.
They're finding that out.
Yep, and they're also got a campaign going to plant trees to provide shade at the playground because it's too exposed. The PTO or something does. And some benches and,
How do your grandkids like the playground?
they say it's too small.
I see.
Like, there's too many kids to get on
Oh,
equipment at, you know, the brief amount of time they have out there at recess.
Well, after you take them to Disney, nothing's gonna be good enough.
Nothing compares.
This was before. All right, so I will order like a double order of
Double order,
signs and we'll
yeah.
get them in and then we can take it from there.
Take it from there. I expect every member of the board to bring a 16-ounce framing in with them to install these signs. Like
The lawn ones go in really easy. I brought a mallet, you don't even need it, so.
I was just shocked at the amount of effort it took to put the Brooks Academy
Yeah,
ones
I
in.
think we should get steel
Uh,
stakes.
Posts.
The ones with the like ridges. because
Oh,
we'd be able
yeah,
to tie them
yeah.
up like that.
T-posts.
Yeah, exactly, and I think they'd be sturdier.
They would be.
One
Yeah.
thing about having wood stakes, when people generally go off the road and hit them, they
That's right.
snap rather than impale people. So, just a thought.
Yeah.
So-
Anyway,
The amount of effort to put in the T-post.
Just another suggestion,
yes, sir.
instead of using a 2-pound hammer, you can get a soil drill to put on the end of your cordless drill.
That's right.
That's what I've started doing. Having gotten very frustrated trying to put stakes in for the winter, snow staking, I finally just got a soil drill, and it's just, it makes a nice hole, gets under,
Hey Kathy, John's got a swim.
I'll come out. Just let me know, Kathy, I'll meet you somewhere
all right.
and drill holes in the ground.
Okay, that's a good idea, 'cause we were having a little trouble, but, okay, well, we'll figure it out, we'll finesse it, we'll
That's-
finesse it.
Okay, is there anything else about the signs? That's done. Next update, website. Anything, John?
The only thing is just about the, not really. I modified the list of current proposals. I left up the Pine Oaks links, so people can still see them, but put withdrawn next to that. So that's the only change that I made, other than tacking on stuff that we got last time for a few extra information for a few proposals, but I haven't made any other changes. And I haven't had any other supplemental information come in for any other projects. I checked today to see if there was anything associated with things we were doing today, and there wasn't.
Okay, any board members have any questions? Okay, thank you, John. Kelly? Social media?
I don't have any updates other than I was thinking with the installation of the banners and signs, could circulate some information on those to give some additional context. So as people see them around, they may be wondering, what is this and what does it mean? So it can give some additional context and backstory of each of the spots that they're at.
So
If
some
that sounds
pictures
good.
then.
Right, yes.
How about we start with the Chronicle? A photograph. Maybe invite Bill Galvin.
You wanna invite him?
I'm sorry. You're gonna add background to the banner and signs or old
No,
no, no, no.
projects?
She's gonna get some pictures
Right,
of the banners and signs to put them on the Facebook page to
banner
give
and signs for the
some
pictures.
background and content.
And then, what are you talking about? I
Having
got
some,
lost, I thought I
having
understood
some
what
of
you
the
said.
photographs put in the Chronicle.
Understand now, okay.
The other kind of social media.
Sorry, I was totally lost there. I
So
thought-
what does that mean, like a press release or
Yeah,
something
yeah,
like that?
do a
Okay,
press release.
okay,
Wow,
These
that's
are why the
old-fashioned.
signs are going up around town.
Are
okay.
you having fun?
That would be a whole article though, I mean, if.
Trying,
But
anyway.
it might be, yeah.
But I mean, somebody has to be educated about, why we're doing it and, have the information straight and.
I'm looking right at the young lady that's got the information right now.
That also sounds like a conversation that we're supposed to have regarding the Channel 18 stuff
Right.
too, yeah.
The Harwich Channel, it's not 18 anymore.
Harwich Channel, excuse me.
Always.
Right, I'm just saying, let's not go to press right away unless we've got
All right, recommendations.
the story down. What are our bullet points about this particular thing, wanna make sure. Not talking about now, I'm just saying we need to do that.
Emmy?
Yeah, and is there a hook?
Yeah,
You want people to not, you want them to be educated, but you want them to be interested and want to learn more. So what's the hook that they're like, oh, I have to dig into this, or I want to share it, or something like that. I'm happy to partner on anything and
sounds
everything
great.
related to that. And it just what social handles do we use?
That's a good question.
Answer is we don't have any. We're working through the library and the Chamber of Commerce,
Okay.
so anything that's generated, they help distribute, and then I help share to other communication channels through Facebook or however.
Awesome.
That's where we're at.
That
Like,
sounds smart.
Your partnering with your expertise would be
Yeah, I'd love
greatly
to, I don't know if
appreciated.
are we allowed to have a like separate meeting and can she and I meet at
I'm not
Kelly
gonna
and
use the
meet?
word subcommittee.
No, don't.
Okay.
Just go ahead and do it.
Have some
Whatever
coffee
you-
and chat?
What- That's exactly
Okay.
right.
That's
Meet-
exactly
Meet
right.
and greet.
All right,
There you go.
cool.
Great.
Mind meld.
Yeah, I'm happy to help.
John, would you consider being part of that? Do you have any processes that you go through that might help them? As far as the communication's concerned?
I think what I do is a little independent of those guys, but
Okay,
on the other hand, if someone wants to get engaged to understand in more detail what I do, so we have some redundancy, that's not a bad idea either, but I don't know, whether anybody really wants to get into that right now, but I'd be happy.
no, but you know something, that word redundancy just smacked me right in the face here. So,
No, I'd love to understand, is there opportunity, for instance, to have, we were talking about pictures, could we have some sort of a destination, say we're doing press or like to
Oh.
drive somewhere else?
There is the CPC webpage
Mhm.
on the Town of Harwich website, which I have been managing for several years now. And I haven't done a lot with it other than posting, and I have edited some of the content there, but honestly, the content could definitely use some review and more frequent updating, and someone other than me looking at it and thinking about what should be there. I'm happy to do the mechanics, but if someone else wants to get involved in doing that, I'm all for that. You need to get a Town of Harwich employee credentials to log on to the website and manage it, but I think it would be great to have two people rather than one who have that access. Because right now, if for whatever reason I'm unavailable and things need to be done, the only alternative is to go to see Sarah Eaton, the IT director, who would know what to do. She's kind of busy with other things, but, so if you're volunteering to do that,
I'm not, I'll be honest, I'm not very technical, I don't know what
Well, if you've ever-
CMS it's built on, or what have you. I'm
well,
not-
you
that's
even
not
know
my
that
field.
acronym, CMS, so you've
Okay.
given yourself away. But it's called Civics Plus. It's something that's used by all the towns, and most of the towns around here. The town is in transition, updating to the latest version of Civics Plus, which is going to be a little bit of a hiccup, I think. I don't really know what is entailed, and I'm in the process of trying to figure that out and trying to get some information about that. But if you have ever edited websites at all, I doubt that you would find this all that challenging. If it's something you've done before, it's just learning, the things you have to do. Anyway, we can have a separate conversation about this probably
the
rather than.
professor has to understand, each one of us speaks a different language. And that language is within itself something.
It's not.
It is, well, if you're a dinosaur like myself, it is, it's a challenge. Kathy, go ahead.
Yeah, I just have a question for John. Is there any way to tell how many people, I don't know what the term is, like,
Visible.
open or visit the website
Like a
on,
counter?
Well,
within the
that's a
Harwich
great
web-
question. I haven't looked into that. There may be, and that may be something that would be part of the update, the software, change that's happening. I don't know. That's a good question. I can look into that. I can ask Sarah, when I managed to see her, I think I'm gonna see them in her in a couple of weeks,
I
but
mean, because we want to become the most popular
we do.
website.
Well, at least the most popular page on the town website.
Right, within the town website, right, exactly.
The wrath of the other.
Nothing to
Okay.
brag about.
All right.
Moving on, anything for the next agenda? Anything anybody would like? We'll discuss that. Anything from anybody, any of the board members?
How about the warrant bundling? We kind of dropped that.
Oh, didn't,
We dropped it because we wanted the full board to address it.
because it was sort of a low attendance meeting
Yeah,
at where we,
yeah.
and we're one shy of the full board right now.
One shy. So, do you want that as an agenda item for next?
Well, I think we need to come up with something to present to the board of selectmen
Okay,
before they do it.
and
At least get our opinion out there.
you want to discuss it now under open session? Okay, then we'll make it an agenda item, not a problem. Anything else from any of the board members?
Can I just request that those who are interested review what's on the CPC webpage now and be prepared to make comments and suggestions at the next meeting?
Okay. I don't hear any complaints from the board, so I'll entertain a motion.
Motion to adjourn.
Second.
All those in favor?
Aye.
Okay.